Hey guys, and welcome to the FitPro Social with me, David Kyle.
And me, Ash Burley. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this week's episode of the FitPro Social. And for the first time in 2 weeks, I remembered to unmute my mic when I started talking, which is always a good start. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about how beneficial are client reviews. But before we do that, as always, if you agree, disagree, got any questions, any thoughts about what me and Dave talk about today, please do let us know in the comments wherever you are watching this. We are streaming to multiple places. This is all about you getting involved. It's all about being social, asking questions. And just because we believe something doesn't mean it's right or wrong. We'd love to hear your opinions on these things too. Before we dig into today's subject, though, let's say hello to Dave. Dave, how you doing?
I just don't get it. Why does software like that was working perfectly fine for weeks, months, and we've been doing this for like a couple of years now. Why did it all of a sudden decide to just mute you as an episode starts? I just don't get it. Like,
Do not get it all. You see it all the time in software, don't you? Just have a little change for no reason. You think somebody or some people have sat around the table somewhere and made that decision because that's the right thing to do, apparently, in their minds. And I don't get it. I can't see the benefit of doing that in the slightest, but there you go. But at least I remembered this time. Only took me 2 weeks.
No, that's good. Yeah, but yeah, doing all okay here. It's quite an interesting topic, this one. It's one that I always talk about a lot, and I call it FOMO. People might call it different things, but I think, quite an interesting topic to talk about, really, because I don't think it's something that's really pushed a lot, or if it is pushed a lot, only one style is pushed a lot. But yeah, cool. Let's get going.
Yeah, I think let's just start off with that FOMO thing. I think that's probably a good place to start off with. Like, there's obviously different ways to do this, to look at client reviews. There's different approaches, as Dave, you kind of mentioned there. But I do think this is all around FOMO. So this idea of fear of missing out. If you can show off what you're doing for other people that are similar to them, this is why niche, I think, helps out as well. Because if you can show off other people are going through the same experience, the same story, have the same problems, and then now got the same results that you want to get, and you can show that off to people, then what's going to happen is people are going to go, well, I want that. I want to be in that person's situation. And if you can try and show that off through reviews and through testimonials and a few other things that we'll talk about today, then it's really going to make life a little bit easier for you to go and make that sale. And I think something we'll talk about as well as we go through this is that testimonials on their own and reviews on their own don't make the sale normally. There's other things you have to have in place as well. But this is a very important part of it. This FOMO and this social proof that we're going to probably dig into as we go through this process.
Yeah, so FOMO, fear of missing out, like it's so powerful. It's like someone sees it, like the new iPhone's coming out. The new iPhone's coming out. It's exciting, new iPhone, best one ever, new iPhone's coming out. And then all these influencers talking, it's the best iPhone ever, best iPhone ever. Next thing you know, you go and buy it because you don't want to miss out having this latest brand new iPhone. So yeah, we're not maximizing it. But first, Ash, I think let's dive into maybe the difference between active collection and organic collection of testimonials, success stories, case studies, and all that type of thing. What do you think in regards to actively chasing and hunting clients down for it to them naturally just giving it to you?
I think both are important. I think if you do it organically, just for anyone that's not sure about the difference between active and organic collection, for anyone that's listening to this, active is the fact you're actually going out there and asking for a testimonial or a review or something like that. Organic is someone that's thinking off their own bat, have just decided to go and leave a review. I'm going to talk a bit more about the organic because of the way you can encourage organic as well, which is something that we do in our business. But I think both are very important. And I always do active reviews. I always ask for them very quickly as well, and quite early on. Normally within the first week or two, I'll normally ask for some kind of review or some kind of testimonial from a client, especially review. We normally ask for that pretty early on in the process. And I think sometimes when people sign up to your programs, they're excited, they're motivated, they really want to get involved and get stuck into it, and they've made a decision to invest in themselves. So that's, to me, a really good time to start asking for a review, asking for some kind of testimonial. And I think if you can do that, they're more likely to go and do it. And I also think as well, people don't always think about it. In some places, let's say you go to Amazon and you buy something on Amazon, you can tell the reviews are a big part of it. Like literally, it's there on the sales page, a review of all this thing. You can see the stars and everything like that, and the points and stuff that they've got. So it's right in front of your face. So there, you might organically do it. You might think, okay, I bought a product, so I'm going to go and review this because this is clearly an important part of the process. I think sometimes in our industry, in the fitness industry, that's not as prevalent. That's not as obvious. And I think because of that, it makes it more important for you to ask, like, can you go and leave a review on my Facebook page? Can you leave a review on Trustpilot? Can you leave a review on Google? And whatever it is, I think if you ask, they're more likely to go and do it. As opposed to maybe organic, which is going to be harder. I think to do organic, you have to really, really over deliver in this industry because it's not as obvious. And that's kind of what I was talking about at the start, where organic, although it is them going off their own back, you've not directly asked someone to do it. You can do things in the process that will encourage them to go and do that. So an example of that might be something like what Amazon do. The reviews are a big part of that page when you go and buy a product. So it's quite obvious that, maybe I should go and leave a review about this. So that's still organic. They're doing it off their own back. They're not being asked for it, but they have been encouraged through that sales process to go and leave a review.
Yeah, it's one of those strange ones. I think if you're naturally that type of person, then you are naturally going to leave a review. So you might always be the person that always reviews all the restaurants that you go to or all the places that you go. That just might be you naturally inclined. That's what you do. But there's a very high percentage of people that aren't like that. So if they're not prompted, if they're not guided, if they're not shepherded into giving you that review, then you're not going to get them. You might only have 20 clients, and let's say the statistic is every 1 in 100 people will naturally be inclined to doing it off their own back without your guidance or anything. Then you need another 5 times the amount of clients you get to get in that statistic of 1 in 100. So it's just not going to happen. So like you said there, we can either guide them, prime them, do certain things to get them ready. So we used to do this in our studio all the time. Where the toilet was, they'd walk into the toilet, sit down on the toilet, and when they sat down on the toilet, right in front of them was, do you want a free hoodie? Leave us a Facebook review, scan the QR code. On the exit door on the way out, after they left, as they started pushing that handle, so as they go to the handle and they see it, there's a big sign that says there, do you want a free protein bar? Leave us a review, scan this QR code, and we'll give you your protein bar on your next session. So we're not actively saying, hey, Ash, can you give us a review? We're kind of leaving subtle hints around the area. And then obviously we've got the active, like literally going to stop somebody. Hey, Ash, literally, can you just stand there and just give me a quick Facebook review? But there's a load of different ways of doing these active ones. You could have a big group collection where you say, anybody wants to leave me a Facebook review, or we're going to do some video case studies. Why don't you come down on Saturday? We'll have a big session, and then we'll interview a load of you for our next batch of case studies. Or like we actively do here at FitPro is every couple of months, we'll give staff all the opportunity to try and generate the most reviews possible. And whoever generates the most reviews as a staff member gets a prize at the end. So not only are their staff incentivized to win something, we're also going to generate a load of reviews at that moment in time. So yeah, as great as it is, as great as and fantastic it would be for people just to naturally want to just say, oh, I love this place so much, I'm going to leave them a review. That is going to be a very minimal amount of people that will do that. And if reviews are such a big part of your business, then we need to actively be chasing them.
Yeah. And I think as well, you tend to get a different type of review depending on those. Like sometimes, as you mentioned, it's very few and far between people who just go out the way and leave a review. But when they do, they are normally quite good reviews. As in, they'll probably put the time and effort in because they want to go and share that information. And you will have a very higher quality, I think, sometimes review when you do it that way because it is more organic and they're probably going to pay more attention, more time into actually writing it. So if you look on out, for example, people that do more organic reviews for us, they tend to write it on things like Trustpilot. So we actually get really quite long reviews and testimonials on there, people talking about their whole journey and story. Not that we've asked for it. We kind of do indirectly, but as you kind of said there, but we encourage people to do it that way. As opposed to some that maybe we've asked, can you just leave us a review? They might go on there. It might be quite quick. It might be a sentence, a paragraph. Sometimes it might just be chuck a 5-star on there or something like that. So you do get
And they're the
different types
worst type of reviews. They're the worst
Exactly.
reviews.
Yeah.
As great as they
Right.
are, they're still the worst.
Yeah. It's like, thank you very much for doing the 5-star, but a bit of energy might be nice in there.
Yeah, just a little bit of context to why you gave it to us. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's quite an important thing to understand, that there's different types of reviews. There's that you can have you can go for higher quantity, like so many of them all the time, but they're probably going to be more shorter. Like, because people want to ease, they might go, I'll leave it for you. I'll leave that review. Here we go. I can remember once we went to a hotel bar at Birmingham Airport. There's a hotel that we stay in, and they're quite, when we go there regularly. And there's two staff members, and they are constantly pushing for reviews. They go over the top in terms of delivering to you like that. They're quite, they're quite charismatic characters. But they always go through stuff, and they have a little TripAdvisor card, and they always give it you and say, will you leave me a 5-star review and just mention my name on there? And they got lots of them, but a lot of the time they're just like 5 stars. This person was great, or it's just 5 stars. It's quick.
Yeah.
As opposed to other places I've been to where people have gone out of the way to give us better service. And I've actually said, no, I'm going to leave a review here, and I'll go back and I'll take my time to go and write it out. And I think that's the difference between pushing for quantity and pushing for quality.
Yeah.
And like for our business, we always try and go for quality. We'll ask for reviews, but we try and do it in a more organically driven way, so we get more detail, more context. Because I think with more context and more detail, you get a story.
I think it's more crucial, especially in our industry, to have those stories. Like you say, as great as it is for someone to come to your Facebook or Google page or Trustpilot page and select all 5 stars and leave no additional comments, that's great. But when the prospect are seeing those, their first thought probably is that a fake person just giving 5 stars and have no context to it. Whereas if they can explain their story, why they joined you, what's happened since joining you, the results they've got from joining you, how their life has changed, and they've put that into 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs, then that review there far outweighs just a 5-star review. Even if they only give you 4 stars, but they give you this massive slab of text which covers everything about them. They just didn't press the 5 because they were just like a Scrooge, basically, and they were just like, oh, no one gets a 5 from me. No one gets a 5. You only ever get a 4. But the context of what's in that text is key. So I think you need a mixture,
Yeah, I think it's important to have a mixture. It also depends where these reviews are going. So if we look at things like, say, I use TripAdvisor, but for us it would more be like Trustpilot and things like that. When you have context, the beauty about going to those kind of sites is normally people will actively go to them, or maybe they Google it and you'll see snippets of things that come up. So when people are looking for reviews like that and they go to places to look for reviews, then what they'll do is they will see the text and the context, and you'll see people that might do like a 1-star. And I do this. If I see a 1-star and I've got no context, no text, I just ignore it. I think the guy can't be asked to tell me what the problem is. So it's probably not really that legitimate of a review. But also on the other side of it, if I've seen, like you said, there a 4-star or 5-star on the written ones, I'll take the time to read it because that person's been through the thing I'm about to go through. And that will normally be more prevalent on things like, say, Trustpilot, for example, or TripAdvisor if it's something else, different kind of industry. And we'll talk a little bit about different types of reviews, like what you do on social media and stuff. But let's compare that to something like a Google review. Like Google reviews are important because you want some text and stuff on there. And I think when you Google something, you can see the stars, and down the side of the page, you can see the context of reviews as well. So again, that's quite important because you can see the text that people are writing about with those. But sometimes you'll see sites where you say, okay, I've got this many stars and there'll be this many reviews left. And you might see something. This is really good with like Just Eat and things like that. So you'll not really see the context of the reviews straight away, but what you'll see is the stars that place has got and the number of reviews they've got. And a lot of time you look at it and think, oh, they've got 5 stars, but they've only got like 11 reviews. You think, okay, might be okay. But then you see someone that's got like 700 reviews and 4.5 stars. But you're more likely to go for them because there's more consistency in what they're doing. So it's very important that you kind of get a balance of both. You need to have some consistency in your reviews as well, because the last thing you want to do is have reviews on your Trustpilot or whatever back from 2021 and had
Yeah.
nothing in the recent years, because that's also a bad idea. You've got to be consistent in it, and it's good to have a mix of both.
It's such a strange one. Like you say, you're going to order something online and you see this one thing, or you see two products roughly the same. One's got like two 5-star reviews, and the other one's got 500, but it's only got 4.5 or 3.5. Although the average is a little bit less than the one that's got only 5 reviews and they're all 5 stars, you kind of creep towards that other one just because so many people have gone there. So if you're getting a load of 5-star reviews with no context, it's also key to work on getting really good context ones, because obviously, like we'll go to the filter. Worst reviews is the first thing we'll always click. Nothing really there. Then we'll go to highest reviews, and then we'll see, okay, 5 stars, no text, 5 stars, no text, 5 stars, massive paragraph. Interesting. Let's read that. And then it's just comparing you to the other person. So you've got Jim 1, who's got 2 5-star reviews, one from his mum and one from a client. And you've got Jim 2, 4.5-star reviews, but 150 of those reviews. And that kind of blows you out the water as well. So as much as the quality is key, when you're comparing maybe your local gym's quantity also does have quite a big factor to why you would buy from that business. Yeah, that's probably the best way of saying it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good way of summarizing it up. I mean, interestingly, we're talking a lot about text reviews here, and we're talking a lot about kind of the review sites, so the Google sites, maybe a Facebook page, Trustpilot, TripAdvisor, Just Eat Stuff, whatever it is. I think we should talk a little bit about the different formats, because there's not just text reviews. There's not just reviews that will say go to these review sites and review them. They are important because you get stars and all that kind of stuff. But there's other types of reviews as well. So as Dave kind of mentioned earlier on, used to say, let's do a quick case study. Let's talk about your experience here. And for example, we have the FitPro Summit coming up soon. I've no doubt myself and Dave will be interviewing a few people there, having conversations with them to see how well they've been getting on, and use those reviews as well, using that whole event for social proof. So there's more than just the text reviews on these review sites. There's video testimonials that you can share in certain places. There's there's image testimonials you can share over social media. So I think it might be worth just digging into some of those different types of reviews that you may put out there.
Okay, 1 second. Hey guys, we're going to take a real quick break here now.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. So if you're loving this episode and want to listen more often, then please make sure that you like and subscribe by clicking one of the buttons around wherever you're listening or watching this right now.
Perfect. Cheers for that, Ash. Let's get back to the episode. Yeah, and that's something we used to push all the time in the studio, was getting a wide range of different reviews. So text-based reviews are fantastic, but I don't really like reading text-based reviews. I prefer watching videos. So then you start adding videos in, but videos and text, they're quite long, and I've got to listen to all of that and everything. I don't want to do that. Before and after pictures, because they can literally see with literally 1 second the start result and the end result. Okay, yeah, but they could be fake and everything. What about holding a newspaper review? What about holding a whiteboard review where it says how much weight or how much muscle they've gained? And by having this wide-ranging types of reviews, it's going to open you up to a wider range of people. And probably we were all told when we got into coaching about coaching styles. So we've got active, or was it a guided discovery, where you kind of tell people, give them context, and they kind of figure it out themselves. And you've got like literally just tell them how to do it, and people learn in different ways. And it's the same for your content, whether it is just social media content or reviews. Some people will react to different reviews in different ways. If they don't really like the whole before and after kind of picture, but they're like somebody holding their jeans and they've lost 3 or 4 jean sizes and they're holding it, like, wow, that's what I want. I like that review. I'm going to join. Or they'd rather see a video, or they'll see a case study, or one of the best ones, which people pay loads of money for, is user-generated content. This is literally a client of yours holding a camera, talking to the camera, talking about their success. It's not you and them sat down or a really photographic case study. It's literally just them holding the camera, talking to the camera, telling them about the results that they've had with you. And that's another way. So there's so many different ways of generating reviews for your fitness business.
The user generated content one I find really, really interesting. To me, it's one of the most powerful ways because it feels more organic to people. So there's a level of trust. I think sometimes the more structured a review can be, especially written, you can think, oh, so anybody could have wrote that or could encourage them to do it.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
video becomes a bit more, okay, I trust that more because they're actually talking to the person. This is a real person. And you will get cynical people think, oh, they're just an actor or whatever, but the chances are it's not. And the more you can do around that route, the more trust there is behind that review. And the more you see of them, the more trust you get. But user-generated content, there's normally a high level of trust because that person, let's say if I was working with Dave, I was in the studio and I got really great results, I might share what my results just off my own cuff with my social media. And that means all my friends and family who already trust me, like, oh shit, like Ash has amazing results. Where did they go to? Well, they actually went over to work with David Kyle. He had amazing results from there. Oh, how do I get involved with that? So because there's an already assumed trust, because I'm sharing that experience, it's much easier from a referral perspective because those people will want to come work with Dave and they'll trust Dave to get the same results he got me just through association because they already trust me because I'm friends or family or whatever it is. So the user-generated content is such a powerful tool. And you can also encourage this a little bit as well. So, for example, a good friend of mine, he does a lot of charity work and he does a lot of work with he runs a gym studio and he does a lot of work with people with certain disabilities and things like that. But he does a lot of it for free. So charitable work for free. He said he does it for free, but he also gets papers involved. He gets articles pumped out there about it. So he gets that article in that paper, and then he uses that and then shares those articles around, tagging those people in. So by doing that, because that review itself is helped out, it's done a good thing, it's got great results for them, he's then sharing that article, or is then sharing the fact that holding this newspaper with this client. And that itself gives you an extra level of authority. It's like, well, actually, it's user-generated content because that client is also more likely to go and share that. And the fact that it's been inside a paper and been featured, there's a level of trust there because there's a level of authority there. So you can actually even take this user-generated content a little bit deeper and actually help encourage it by doing little things like that and adding extra authority into your reviews.
And what makes it difficult for everybody really is that there's so many options out there now. You kind of need to be on all of them. So, like you were just talking about there, trust pilots. We don't have trust pilots at FitPro Lead Gen or LeadDeck. So if somebody was to go on Trustpilot and search for us, we wouldn't appear there. But people might go and Google us. Likewise, people might search for you on YouTube. And if you don't have some case studies on YouTube, then you're missing out there. Likewise, if you go onto recommendations on your Facebook page, do you have them on there for people to find? And if people are following your social media and your Instagram, are you dropping a video or a screenshot or the user generated content on those platforms as well? And then if somebody goes to your website, can they see all of those other videos and content types embedded? So your Trustpilot link, your Google review link, your videos, all on these places. We need a wide-ranging amount of content, but we also need to also be in a wide-ranging amount of places so people can discover you via different channels. Because again, if we want to generate loads of new leads for the business, we need to be in a variety of different places. And to be in those different places, we also need to upload our successes. So when people see the stuff in those places, they can also see the success, and then they're going to inquire from there. So yeah, we definitely need a wider range. But what do you do then, though? Like, you're getting clients who give you those Facebook reviews and Google reviews, and you're doing all these case studies. Like, where are we sharing them? How are we getting it out there to the public to learn and see what we're doing?
Well, I think there's definitely two parts here we should definitely think about. The first one, just quick on what you said there about being in multiple places. They are places where you're going to ask people to go and do reviews. And as you mentioned, you've got to be in lots and lots of different places. And you mentioned like not being on Trustpilot or not being on Trip, all these different things. You also have to be aware as well that even though you're not on those things, people can still leave you a review. People can still leave you a Google review if they can't find your business. People can still go to Trustpilot, type in PT Ninja and leave a review. And just because you haven't claimed that company, you won't know about it. So you could have reviews. People could be looking on your Trustpilot for your business, find your business. You could have no idea people leaving reviews about you because somebody's done that already. And you have to go and claim that business. So it's really important that if you do want to start encouraging reviews, just bear in mind that in some places people can still leave reviews for you even if you don't know about it or not. So it's worth sometimes doing a little bit of research where your clients, your ideal clients, your avatar, your niches might hang out and find reviews from, and just make sure you're in those places. And to me, that's where you share from. Like, you have to do a little bit of research and say, right, where are my ideal clients, the people I want to attract into my business? Where are they actually hanging out? And they become the places that you want to start sharing these reviews and asking for these reviews. And asking and sharing are actually two slightly different things. So asking for review is, will you leave a review about this? Once you've done that, that review is now an asset. It's a marketing asset, if you like, for your business. And you should use that in so many different places. I'll give you a perfect example of one of the things we do. We encourage people to go to, recently we've done more and more of this. We're starting to encourage more people to go to Trustpilot, to do some things on Trustpilot. We've just been testing it out. We did a little campaign for that. They went on there. So what we do, we go through, we screenshot all those different reviews, and then we turn them into social media content. We can then share those social media content through stories, for example. We can share them through posts or anything else we want to go and do. So just because somebody's left a review in one place, it doesn't mean that that's the only place it needs to be, because you can build that social trust, that social proof up. So let's talk about social media. If you were to take a screenshot of Trustpilot and share that on social media, it might be that your ideal client is looking at your content. They might never go to Trustpilot to have a look, see what you've done, but they know that, people are actually going there. People are going out of their way to a platform that they never normally go to leave a written review and give you 5 stars. So when someone sees that on social media, they go, well, if people are doing that already, they must be comfortable with that. And then if you then follow that same review, maybe on the story with maybe a testimonial, like a video testimonial or something like that, or you demonstrating something happening in your gym or studio, again, you're building up this social proof. So there's quite a few places you can utilize that new asset you've just created from that review across multiple places.
Yeah, so like the perfect example here is going to be the follow-up process. So if you've just booked somebody in for a free consultation or whatever your setup is, don't just be like, hey, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. I definitely come in today. See you in an hour. Give a little bit of insight and inspiration, some excitement, something for them to kind of feel motivated by. So when somebody books, like, hey, Ash, super excited that you booked your call with me next Wednesday. We're going to discuss this. But here's a couple of clients who've been working with us over the last couple of weeks. You can check them out here. Here's a link to the blog, got a load of articles. So here's a link to our Facebook page or a link to our YouTube page. You want to be guiding people to these places so it's easy for them to find. Likewise, on the case study element, we need to be generating a wide-ranging amount of case studies. So maybe in your marketing plan, if January is more of a new year, new me campaign, then you want to be posting those type of contents that people that talk about that type of stuff in that month. Or if you come into June and you're doing some sort of summer shred program, then maybe in June you find the reviews that you've had over the last couple of years about people who've done that particular program, or their results match kind of what you're trying to promote at that moment of time. Then you'll start sharing those reviews, whether they be Trustpilot or videos or screenshots or before and after pictures. It's about putting the reviews out at the right times as well. So like yesterday we did a coaching call inside the incubator based on cohorts, which is what you did. So as the cohort process is about to become available, when the doors are just about to open, you start priming those people up a couple of days before with all your reviews. So you're kind of already answering questions which they're thinking of about your program within that review. It's the same as what you do in a sales call.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's important to make sure you plan things out. I think whenever you're using reviews, it's not just about asking, it's about, and I kind of said at the very start of this, the review is just one part of it. The testimony is just one part of it. You have to have the bigger picture at play. Because if you just ask for a review, yes, they're important, but you're basing people seeing that review off pure luck. Someone's decided, just like someone's got to decide to organically leave that review, someone's got to organically decide to go and look at that review as well. So you want to do things to encourage them as well. So there needs to be part of your overall marketing plan and also your overall strategy as well. You need to make sure you're including this as part of it. And just like Dave said there, we do exactly the same thing with our calls. If people want to book a call and come to chat with me, as soon as they book that call, they get a little video that says thank you. There's some reviews and stuff on there. They get email reminders through. Every email reminder that comes through, there's something on there. It's not just your call's going to be booked, your call's in X amount of time, click here to cancel or whatever. It's literally a full-on email with here's all your details for your call again. I'm really excited to talk about X, Y, and Z. This is how our client, Luke, achieved this, this, and this. And we might have like an image or a screenshot of a testimonial there if it was an image one. And then the next email, same kind of thing, different story, but this one might be with Keely, who had this experience doing this, this, and this. Here's a link to our YouTube channel, which has the testimonial on it. So very quickly, we're directing people to these different places so they can see these reviews, very socially. It might be social media snips, like we take screenshots of people leaving comments sometimes or posting on social media. They will go in the emails. It might be a link through or a screenshot to Trustpilot. It might be a link through to YouTube. That all goes out in that email sequence. And as Dave says there, we actually adjust that depending on what campaigns we're running. So different times of the year, we'll have a slightly different approach in those calls because sometimes we're trying to encourage our done for you service. Sometimes we're trying to encourage our academy. Sometimes we're trying to encourage the cohorts, mastery programs that we run. Just depends on what we're doing. So it's really important that you make these reviews and these testimonials as part of your overall strategy and think about how that might change throughout the year.
The only thing I'd add to that point is going to be like you have to give context. So if you've just got a real fantastic before and after picture, don't just post that up and say, well done, Jen, or well done, whoever. Give a little bit of context to why you're posting it. If you're posting a video review up and you just title it as Ash's review, then that's not inspiring people to want to watch that video. Like that's not motivated me at all to watch that video. If a client sends you a screenshot and says, Ash, you know what, this week's been great, I'm down 2, and that's all it says, and you post that out and you say, well done, Ash, for dropping 2. Like,
was it
to what's he dropped? Like, we just got to think of people don't understand what it is you do fully. They're not part of your client base. They don't know your terminology and stuff. So if we are posting out success stories or screenshots or before and after, even before and after pictures, although the picture show can kind of like say 1,000 words, we still need to give it a context to it. This was Sally before joining. She'd been stuck in a rut for the last couple of years. Her marriage wasn't going great. She was really struggling for confidence. The after, now she's been training with us. Everything's completely changed. She's got that smile back in her face. She's got the fitness of what she was like back in her 20s. The marriage is prospering and everything like that. Like just putting the before and after picture, it shows the result, but it doesn't give context to why I should really look at that picture and now want to reach out. So we need to be posting these success stories everywhere and anywhere, but we also need to give a little bit of context to it so people understand what the meaning of it is.
Yeah, and it's based on that telling stories. I always think in anything in sales, in marketing, everything, it's about telling the story. And if you can tell a story around that review, around that testimonial, it's going to work better for you because, as you mentioned there, you can see a before and after picture, and people can recognize that. Think, oh, I'm maybe a bit overweight and I want to lose weight, so that's great. But that's a very high, like a kind of high level, not very deep reason for doing it. But if you can tell that story behind that person, then that's when people are going to relate to it more, and they're more likely to think, actually, this is me. This is how Dave can help us go and do this. And I think a cool thing to finish off today with, which I think we'll start doing more and more on these FitPro social podcasts, is trying to get you guys to get some tasks to go away. Both me and Dave are coaches by trade, and we sit here and talk about stuff all the time, but we never really give you anything to go away with. So we're actually going to give you some tasks to go away with this time, and we'd like to do one this week because I think it'll make a big difference. And we've got a lot of things coming up in the next month that it'd be useful to leverage some of the reviews and such for. So what I'd like to do if you listen to this is I want you to reach out to 3 of your clients who have achieved meaningful results. So results that, are good or decent and things that actually mean something to them. Meaningful being the key word there, not just good results, meaningful results. And then we need to go and ask them for a review. And the reason we're saying meaningful is because meaningful means they're more likely to write a story about it, they're more likely to tell their experience as opposed to just saying, this was good, thumbs up. We want that story because that's what's going to really make a difference for them. And explain that to them. Encourage them to share the specific details. Talk about where they were beforehand, what it was like when they first signed up with you, what was their thought process when they first signed up with you, what was the experience like working with you, what is their life like now? And if you can talk about those key things very quickly in that one testimony, that one review, you've dealt with half of the barriers that people have when they come to sign up with you. And it starts speaking to them on a nice deep level. So I think that's what we'd like to go and do. Reach out to those 3 clients who have meaningful results, ask them for a review, encourage them to be specific and tell a bit of a story. And then once you've done that, just decide where you want to go and share these testimonials, whether you want that to be on your website. If you've got a website, put it on there. If you want to put it on your socials, do it on there. Put it into your email sequences, your email lists that go out. If you have people booking calls and sessions with you, put it out on those emails that go out. Decide where you want to go and put these and share these in multiple places and start leveraging them and using them in your business. And if you can, bonus points if you get a video from them.
Yeah, prompt them, give them guidance on what to say. So like if you're doing the case studies or the video testimonials, you've got questions that you want to ask them. Don't just say, hey, Ash, can you go and give us a Facebook review and just tell them a little bit more about you? Give them stuff. People are scared to do this stuff. People are scared to ask for reviews. People are scared to reach out and ask for reactivations. And it's the same for your clients. They're going to be scared to give you those reviews. So give them some context. Say, hey, Ash, I'd love for you to go and give me a review this week. You know what? Your results over the last month have been incredible. I'm super proud of you. I honestly, you've done really well. If you could leave us a review, like just here's 3 things that maybe to include in your review. What it was like before you started, what it was like when you went through all these changes, and what the results have you come out with. Or if they're still and ahhing and unsure, you could accidentally write the review for them and give them to them so they can publish it. But I never said that.
No. Yeah, give us some context. Give us some context to help them out. As long as they agree to it, and you're not lying. But some people struggle with writing. Some people struggle with talking about these things. One of the things we do with our clients, we have literally a script of questions that can go through reviews, whether it's written or whether it's a video one. And if your clients are struggling with maybe a video testimonial, and it's difficult because sometimes you say, go and film this, interview them. Just interview them, ask them the questions, sit opposite them on a chair and film it, or do it on something like we're on here, StreamYard or Zoom, and just have that conversation with, ask them the questions, and then just take that, edit the video so it's more suited to what you want to use it for. Make sure you send it to them first so they can agree to it, because if you're editing something, they should really agree to it. And then there you go. It becomes a lot easier. It becomes more comfortable for them. And that does give you some great testimonials, great content to use as well, because you don't have to use the whole review. You can just use snippets from it in different areas. So it's a really useful way of doing it.
Nice. Again, if you agree or disagree with anything we've had to say today, do let us know in the comments, or reach out if you want to come on as well and chat about your own stories and stuff. Do let us know. But appreciate you all tuning in this week, and we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the FitPro Social. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.